welcome back to Passions Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the soap opera Passions. This is part 2 of last week's episode, which in this exact moment, I haven't decided what the episode title would be. So it's just TBD part 2. I am your regular host, Latara, back again, or still here, with Kelly. Woo! So we're doing this all in one day, as I did the last time. But it's a lot. It's been a lot this week. So before we get into the next storyline, I want to just say a quick shout out to the patrons over on Patreon. Thank you to Muna Shay, Lisa, Zach, Sid, Sarana, Randall, Hannah, Camelia, Jeanette, Eric, Fantasia, Sean, S, Larissa, Maria, Lisa, Jessica, Jean, Laura, Karen, Uche, Justin, Paige, Casey, Garange, Tom Bergeron, Daisy, Shane, Kelly, Taylor Harris Crane, DJ, our Kelly that's here today, Kelly M, and our latest and newest patron, Lisa. Thank you all so much for being patrons and hanging in there with me. And if you would like to be a patron too, go over to patreon.com/passionspodcast and sign up for whatever tier you find most agreeable. And with that, on with the show, jumping into the next storyline. Okay, we're going on to troubled marriages. Really? Is that what I wanted to do next?
I mean, I have Theresa, Ethan, and Gwen.
I'm trying to decide what do I want to do. Do I want to do Theresa, Ethan, Gwen, and Chad and Whitney, or do I want to do troubled marriages? Yeah, actually, because troubled marriages is the Eve stuff. So yeah, let's get into that, because that was maybe my favorite part of the week. Eve and Liz.
Yeah. Well, I really liked the Eve and Julian thing, very beginning.
I just enjoyed seeing more of Eve this week, even though I do talk cash money shit about her all the time. But it was nice to see kind of a different side of Eve, right? And we're starting to see some of we're getting back into the storyline about her past. You know, for the last I don't know how long, most of Eve's stuff has either been just a listening ear for Grace, or you know, every once in a while we get a little sprinkle of her past, but Eve hasn't been doing much of substance besides giving subpar care to the citizens of Harmony. It was nice to see them get into more of her storyline. So let's get into it. We pick up at the hospital where TC is looking for his wife. He's looking for her because he wants to invite Liz to come and stay at their house. Remember, he met Liz at the coffee shop. They struck up a conversation, and after 20 minutes, he decided to let this strange woman come and stay at his house where his kids sleep at night. And so
that was so weird. It was he trusted her immediately, and then he really wants to know about this despicable, horrible person, and it's you don't know, this person could be a complete and utter crazy cuckoo cuckoo.
You don't know this woman. You don't know her. And frankly, she says the reason that he even was you know, it's fine, I'm sure you're good people, is because she tells him that she knows Antonio and Diana. Number one, TC doesn't know Antonio like that. He's been gone forever, right? He probably met him when he was a kid, but he doesn't know Antonio like that. The second part of that is he doesn't know Sheridan like that. He doesn't know Sheridan. And she met Diana, which is a different person entirely, to be honest. Totally. So, yeah, you don't know that. You do not know this woman.
She can't walk.
Oh God. I'm not going back there again. I can't. I can't.
It was the Little Mermaid when she forgets how to, or is learning to walk.
She just gets her new legs. Yeah. So he shows up at the hospital. TC shows up at the hospital looking for Eve. Meanwhile, Eve is kissing Julian. I was like, wait a minute, where's my music? Oh my God, I'm so unprepared today. Eve is kissing Julian, and it was sensual, right? He leans in to kiss her. He's kissing her neck. She's nuzzling him. you could see it was like comforting to her.
Mm-hmm.
Like it felt,
Yeah.
you could see it was like familiar to her in like a really comforting way. And she does come to her senses at a certain point and pulls away. But yeah, they're sharing a very passionate embrace for a while. And the show tries to trick us into believing that TC sees them together, but he doesn't. He walks into the wrong room. And
It's
so
a
he's
violation.
yep, he's just
Running around the hospital like, Eve?
no.
Eve?
Apparently, TC has privileges at this hospital. And we learned a couple of weeks ago that he's the hospital's grief counselor. So maybe they just,
No.
yes.
Wow.
Isn't that the most ridiculous thing? I
So-
truly think that is probably, I mean, there's so much ridiculous shit on this show, from witches to dolls that come to life and houses going to hell. But TC Russell being a grief counselor at the hospital is the most ridiculous thing they've ever written on this show.
I actually agree wholeheartedly.
And like I said before, this man can't regulate his own emotions. What could he possibly have to share and help? How could he possibly help somebody else? He hasn't
He
even helped
also
himself.
like doesn't understand the evolution of people. So it's like,
Yeah, he also doesn't listen
yeah.
ever. He also is a terrible listener.
Mhm.
But yes, he told Tabitha that to come by the hospital sometime so they can talk, because he's the hospital's grief counselor.
I missed that. That's horrible.
So it was ridiculous. So yeah, he misses out on them kissing. He doesn't see it. He's looking around trying to find Eve. So he just keeps wandering around the hospital. Meanwhile, after Eve kind of pulls away from Julian, she tells him, like, are you crazy? Don't ever do that again. And he apologizes to her. He tells her, they really get over it very quickly. Like, she's like, it's fine, it's okay, because she liked it.
Kind of like went for it.
Yeah, they went for it. He went for it, and she was into it.
Mm-hmm.
She was. So they do get over it very quickly, because, like you said, because she liked it, right? And then they talk about Whitney and her promising tennis career, and he says, maybe this is karma, talking about his injuries from the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying maybe this is karma because TC was injured and I got injured, so Whitney wouldn't get injured, so she can still play tennis. And then Eve asks him, like, are you admitting that you had something to do with TC's accident? And Julian just says, the past is full of regrets, Eve, things we can't change. But to tell you the truth, I wish TC had won that tennis tournament instead of me. I wish he'd been able to play so he could fulfill his dream of becoming a professional tennis player. It meant much more to him than it ever did to me. I love Julian is speaking his truth.
Mm-hmm.
He's really being honest. I really think his like redemption arc and what has happened to him, his transformation, it's almost like it's not a transformation as much as he's like shedding this like shell, this facade that he had built up. I think because I think this is who Julian really is, right?
Yeah, I also like think, well, the Timmy thing greatly impacted him. And then also like he probably, like when he first was with Eve, that was more like his authentic self. And so then when he's around her, that kind of like peeks out.
Yeah.
And then he is more like aware than like Rebecca and stuff, where he like talks about how Alistair really just didn't want TC to win because it was like a class issue, because he was like the whatever janitor's.
He said he's a groundskeeper's. He was the groundkeeper's son.
Yeah. So it's like he's like he's hip to the jive.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's very aware of what actually happened. And as he had told Whitney on the elevator, he's done a lot of self-reflection recently. So he's been thinking back on the way his life played out and the choices that he made. And I think one of the choices that he made was that he was, he gave up Eve and he was going to live the life that his father wanted him to live, because otherwise his dad was going to cut him off, or worse.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Probably
or
kill him.
worse.
Yeah.
He literally tried to kill Sheridan
Multiple.
3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And he has threatened Julian's life on multiple occasions too.
Also just like got verbally abused, if not beyond that, for years. So it's like he just was like chipped away at. And so maybe he finally has enough distance from Alistair that he can be like, oh, okay, well,
yeah.
let's unpack this stuff.
And I think he regrets so much of his life, right? He's been in a marriage that he didn't want for many, many years. And then turns out the pride and joy of that marriage for him isn't even his son, right? It's Julian, as I've said multiple times on this show, at the end of the day, Julian is an abused child. He has been abused his entire life. Him and Sheridan both have been abused their entire life. The difference between him and Sheridan, and I think that one of the reasons Sheridan turned out the way she did, and she's lucky, in a way she's lucky she got sent off to that convent or whatever.
Totally.
Because
to boarding school or whatever.
Because Julian being under Alistair's thumb for his entire life turned him into a monster.
Well, it's also the difference between being like the only son and the only daughter.
Yeah, I know about that too. Yes. So let's see. He explains about the groundskeeper's son. Yeah, he said, my father didn't even care if I won. He didn't care about tennis that much. He just didn't want me losing to some black groundskeeper's son, right? So there was that. And then they just go on and recap about no one can ever find out about our past. And Julian tells her, no one will find out, not from me. I won't ever tell anyone because I don't ever want to cause you any more pain. Eve doesn't know what to make of this new version of Julian. It gets her all flustered because this is the Julian. I think this is the Julian that she wanted back in the day.
And probably had a little bit of, because like when he was in the jazz club, he probably was like able to be freer.
Yeah. I think this Julian is definitely a version of the old Julian, just like maybe more mature. Yeah. So, and like we've already said, he has so many regrets. And when you have those kinds of regrets, you change. You try to make better choices going forward.
Although, according to TC, like a person never changes.
I hate TC. I don't like that man.
Also, like, for me, is keeping your past in the past really like a secret or a lie? Like, I just think that that's not like just like ruminating until the cows come home.
No. And we will get to it because I have much to say about what TC. I hate TC. TC is, this week TC is the lowest on the totem pole for me. Like he's the lowest of the character hierarchy for me this week. He below Antonio. Because again, at least I had some sympathy for Antonio this week. I didn't even use my this guy stinks button.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I didn't, but I will be using it on TC. So,
I thought it was telling that Dana Sparks. That she liked my comment about how, like, on Instagram about how I like how the calmest person in this conversation is TC.
Yeah. Did she?
Like, oh, wow.
That's so funny though, because like when Sam was like going off, it's like TC's the voice of reason here today. Wow, maybe he really is a therapist. Maybe. I don't know. So let's see. TC's searching around the hospital, searching for Eve. Then Liz finds him and asks if he's found his wife yet, because he's looking for Eve so he can ask her if Liz can stay at their house, right? And so in their little conversation, he like gushes about how beautiful and perfect and amazing and loving and giving his wife is. It was very
pure.
weird and pure. Yes.
He always uses the word pure. I'm like, what the heck? It's so gross. Ugh.
And so, he gushes about that. And she's like, wow, she must be a wonderful woman. And so then he does find Eve separate from Liz because Liz has like lost her wallet. Why do you have your wallet out at the hospital? She's like,
Yeah.
what are you
She's
doing?
checking her copay.
Yeah, it's like you're not getting serviced here. Why do you not have your wallet in your purse? What are you taking it out for? Maybe she took it out to get a drink or a snack or something.
Yeah.
So he asks Eve if Liz can stay with them. She agrees. He explains how he met her and all of that. She agrees. They have then they have a conversation about Julian, and TC said, because TC is like talking shit about Julian, but Eve's like, well, he did save our daughter's life, and I'm very grateful to him for that. And TC says, well, I am thankful that he saved Whitney, but I still hate him. Okay, that's fine. You know, it's fine. You still hate him. Fine. But then he goes to this man's room. He goes to Julian's room and he tells him, you know, I am grateful for what you did for Whitney, but stay away from me and my family. If you come near my family again, I will kill you. And then he doubles down, reiterates, I will not hesitate to kill you. God.
It is super weird that he's like, I regret beating up Julian, but I'll do it again.
Yeah.
So weird.
TC, I just felt like that was so, I don't know. I guess they're just driving home the fact that TC really, really, really hates Julian. It's just, they're just reminding us what the stakes are for Eve, right? Because Eve's thing all along has been that if TC finds out, he will kill Julian and then he will go to jail and her daughters will not have their father anymore, right? The other portion of that is that she often says like, my life will be destroyed, my whole family will be destroyed, but the specifics are what she has specifically told us, and why she thinks her family will be destroyed is because she thinks he'll kill Julian and then he will go to jail. She also feels like he will hate her too. But that is a big portion of it. So that's why they're showing us this. I think that, yes, he still has murder in his heart for Julian.
And as a grief counselor, you think he'd be able to grieve the loss of his, I don't know, high school tennis career?
That's exactly what I said.
Acceptance, you know?
That's exactly what I said. I said, somehow you're a grief counselor and you haven't even accepted your own grief over the loss of your failed tennis career and your father. And you are putting all of that onto your daughter. You don't see how that is in like antithesis to what an actual grief counselor might do.
Right. It's so weird.
Yeah. So Liz is searching around the hospital for her wallet and she runs into Eve. Liz does not hesitate. She just goes, you bitch, and she slaps the shit out of Eve. And then she goes, you whore, what are you doing here? What do you mean? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Why are you in this hospital being treated for gonorrhea, syphilis?
I know. I was like, what is going on?
I was like, damn. Eve is too shocked to speak. She's in utter shock, which I would be too, right? Although in the fight, flight, or fawn response, I am definitely a fleer. Like I'm definitely like a runner, right? So I feel like if I saw Liz, right, I'm running. I'm running.
Yeah, I don't know.
You didn't see me. Like I'm pretending to be somebody else. Like yeah. Oh God, I wish Eve had been like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I think she's still going by the old same name. It would. Oh my God, yes, she could pretend to have amnesia, or she could just be like, I don't know who you slapped me, and now I'm calling the police because I don't know who you are. But but Liz actually can blow her spot up, so she can't do that. She has to take it. So
they related.
They are related, yes. It hasn't come out yet. It will be coming out soon. What this all is about, yeah.
Because I don't remember.
They are related in a way, yes. So, Eve is shocked, but then she gets a page. She says, "Oh, it's about Ethan." And she's ready to rush off. And Liz is like, "Who's that? You're a pimp?" And so Eve's like, "I can't deal with this. Like, I have to do my job." Right.
It's like such a hyperbolic response.
It was actually insane. And so Eve leaves and Liz is like, yeah, you don't want to keep your next John waiting. Jesus Christ.
And also, like, where are everyone else in this hospital, like, who, like, witnessed this weird altercation?
Wouldn't the rumor mill start swirling like crazy this in Harmony, this small town? And Doctor of the Year Eve Russell got slapped across the face by this random woman who was yelling obscenities at her and calling her.
I mean, if the concierge at the Lobster Shack can bring up, you know, hey, sorry, Sheridan, like, someone could hear
exactly
at this hospital.
That was such a perfect point. Yeah. So no, nobody heard this huge blow up. I mean, because Liz was yelling at her.
Totally.
Yelling at her. And so
I feel like doctors' ears would perk up because they're like, oh, gonorrhea.
Right. Well, honestly, for me, my ears are perking up because I heard the slap. Like, what was that? Right? Like,
Totally.
there's a fight happening somewhere. So she rushes off, and then TC finds Liz. Didn't hear the yelling that she did, and he walks in 5 seconds after Eve walks away. Like if that, he walks in. Eve is not even all the way off screen, and TC coming into frame. Right. Totally. But he didn't hear the screaming. He's like all happy go lucky. Oh, hey, Liz, I just talked to my wife and everything's fine. And then he's like, wait a minute. You look like you've seen a ghost. And she says that she just saw a hateful, horrible person from her past. And he's like, whoa, let me go get you some tea and to calm you down. So he goes and gets her tea, comes back, and she says, thanks, but I don't think I'll ever be calm again. It's like so dramatic.
Yeah, it's like, your nervous system isn't very
you need to regulate.
Tolerance is like this big then.
And if you're never gonna be calm again, like, I don't know, maybe you should check yourself into this hospital. That's bad. That's bad for your heart.
Maybe Eve should give you a sedative.
Eve, oh my God.
You want a sedative or something to quiet your nerves?
That is exactly what she should have done. Like when the girl slaps, like, do you need a sedative? You are out of your mind. Actually, because I know Eve like walks around with sedatives in her pocket, or that's how I think of her. You know, it's like, what? Imagine if Eve just like stabbed her. Like this woman was crazed. Yeah, and like sedates her and locks her up.
She could just do the Orphan storyline again, but
yes, or she could lock her up like she locked up Charity.
True.
Yeah. And keep her sedated. She could do a mix. She could keep her sedated and lock her up in the psych ward like she locked up Charity. Yeah. Oh, we always write better storylines for this. So what was it? Oh, TC is listening to Liz go off about how she wants her revenge, and he asked her, who is this woman in town that you know, and she's like, oh, you probably don't know her. She refuses to give him a name, which I don't know why. I don't know why. Whatever. And then she's like, all I want is 5 minutes alone with her, 5 minutes to tear her apart and make her pay for all the pain she's caused me. So this week with Liz, and between Liz and TC, we get a lot of Liz just saying she ruined my life. She destroyed my life. She caused me so much pain. She's a horrible, evil, vile person. She's a slut. She's a whore. I mean, it's a lot. It is a lot.
He's like revenge obsessed. There was someone else that was revenge obsessed this week too, because I was like, oh, the theme.
Rebecca.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Rebecca wanted to get her revenge on Pilar.
Yeah, so, and like I wrote down, I think it's resentment, but it's like revenge is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. But I think it's resentment. But like revenge
I think it's like hate. I think it's like hate is like drinking poison and thinking it'll kill your enemy or something like that. But I know, I think that all the words work. Revenge, resentment, hate.
It's just like, dude, it's so much energy. I'm like, I'm tired like watching you.
Yeah, it is a lot of energy, and frankly, you have the chance. Do it.
Yeah.
Pull the plug, pull the trigger. Right?
Yeah.
She's not gonna do it. Because do you really want your revenge? Or do you want Eve's life? Right?
Yeah, like, want like the fantasy of revenge or something, because like the reality of it doesn't really pay off.
Yeah.
You're just like a crazy person confiding in an absolute stranger.
Oh my God. Yes. And she confides a lot into TC, telling him about she calls this woman a low life drug addict who broke her parents' heart. Okay, so we're getting a little inkling of what it is that Liz is upset about. The drugs and I guess sleeping with a man, because we have not been told that Eve was like loose. We just know that she slept with Julian and they were like in a relationship together.
Yeah. And she was I'm like, maybe she was like Pretty Woman-ish, like at the jazz club, but like that's not the vibe I ever got. Yeah.
I don't think so. I think if that was the case, it would have been explicitly said to us by now.
Mm-hmm.
But all we get is that she was in love with Julian and that they were living a wild life together and they were doing drugs together. And then he abandoned her when she got pregnant. That's what we know. It doesn't, whatever.
But not like that she was like a prostitute being pimped out.
It's not giving sex worker. So so it's just whatever. It's on par for Passions. It makes sense for Passions. If you have sex once, you're a slut, you're a whore. Right. Like Ivy's constantly calling Theresa a slut and a whore and all of these things. And Theresa has had sex in canon 2 times. For us, we know that she's only ever had sex 1 time. But, you know, she had the 1 time with Ethan and 1 time with Julian, allegedly. And yeah, they call her a slut and a whore constantly. Mm-hmm. It's like if you have sex with 1 person, that's too many. It's one person too many. So yeah, she's going off and on about how horrible this woman is, and he keeps asking her like, who is it? And she won't tell him. And then Eve walks up and TC's like, oh, Liz, please meet my wife, Dr. Eve Russell. Liz is stunned to find out that Eve is a doctor, even though Eve like literally was like paged, had to run off. I don't know, but whatever.
But she got paged by her John.
Yeah, she is stunned to find out that Eve is a doctor. And again, now we just do this thing where Liz is speaking very cryptically about all of this horrible, hateful, evil woman, and how she doesn't deserve respect. And now she's living a respectable life now, but nobody would guess about her true past, and the lies need to end, and I'm the one that ended. At one point, Eve says, you know, did you ever ask this lady like why she did what she did? Maybe she had a reason for why she did what she did, and she never meant to hurt anybody. Liz is like, there's no excuse. TC chimes in, is like, yeah, there's no excuse for ruining somebody's life. Liz hasn't even told you what this woman did to her. All she has said is that this woman ruined her life. That's it. That is it. So
also, like, I would be like, your life clearly isn't ruined. You have clothes on your back. You like,
she owns a resort.
Yeah.
And an airplane. She's fine.
Yeah.
She's fine. I don't know. I know a little bit. I don't fully remember what it was that Liz had, like her issue with Eve. I do recall it not being that big of a deal. I believe it all kind of stems from something happened to her after Eve left. And because Eve wasn't there to like protect her, then she hates her because like this horrible thing happened to her. And Eve wasn't there for her when she needed her to be. I believe that's really all it is. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But because I know that the stakes for this for me it doesn't work for me with Liz. The all of this yelling and screaming and the dramatics, they're not working for me. So
yeah, and the blackmail isn't that high. And also, who cares? Like, I just think that, yeah, maybe Eve was slutting it up, but like, she's not slutting it up anymore. And even if she was, who cares? It's like,
who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? But TC cares.
TC cares.
TC
and for some
cares.
reason, Eve really cares what TC thinks. But
Yeah.
at this point, I'd just be like, oh, there goes my husband. He's flying off his handle again.
He sucks. He's a horrible husband. He's a bad man. Like, whatever. So Liz says there's no excuse and she's going to end all the lies, whatever. Theresa and Whitney pop up and they interrupt this conversation. Liz recognizes Whitney as the girl she had talked to at the book cafe and talks about Simone. She's like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I met you both and you're lovely girls. And I think this makes her kind of second guess, kind of blowing Eve out of the water in that exact moment. Because she did like Whitney. The thing about Liz is she's not a bad person. Up until we start seeing her interact with Eve, I think Liz is lovely. I think she's a lovely woman. She was so kind to Whitney, and gave her good advice.
Yeah.
And I think because that kind of softened her when she saw Whitney again and made her go, maybe now's not the time. I guess. I don't know. But then Whitney and Theresa leave and she tells them like, oh, you have a wonderful family, Dr. Russell. She directs it at Eve. You have a wonderful family, Dr. Russell. And maybe if that despicable woman hadn't ruined my life, I would have a wonderful family too. And
also, if you hadn't invested a lot of time into Antonio, who clearly is a despicable man because he abandoned his family and changed his name and moved to an island and took advantage of your kindness.
Where's my air horn? I'm slow on the buttons today, but yes. If you spent all that time with that despicable man on that island, you didn't have any problems with him. Ruining your life, wasting your time,
seriously,
spending your money, eating your food. Yeah.
Making love to his new lover in your bedrooms.
Yeah, truly. On your beach. Yeah. Not doing his job, leaving work for weeks at a time to go fuck Sheridan. And they're both supposed to be at work. Yeah. Making you come and pick him up with your airplane. Oh, we could go on, but we're not going to. We're going to keep going. Where am I? Liz, she just keeps teasing about exposing this woman. She never fucking does. It eventually just gets very annoying. Then we get the following infuriating exchange. Truly infuriating. I'm going to get my button ready now. So we get this exchange. Liz says, this woman is the most destructive person I've ever known. If she could destroy my life, I have no doubt that she'll try to destroy others. That's why you have to know her identity, right? Then Eve says, TC, no, I don't want to know her name. Liz says, no, why not? And TC says, yeah, honey, why don't you want to know? He says, I understand that you want me to don't want me to take part in any gossip, but this is much more than that. No, it's not. It's only gossip. That's all it is. He says, I mean, if what I'm hearing is true, this woman is evil like the Cranes. And then Liz says, oh yeah, every bit as evil. And then TC says, and if she has risen to the level of and if she has risen to a level of responsibility, then people trust her. And if this person is as low life as Liz says she is, and I have no reason to doubt Liz, then we need to warn everybody in town because we have to keep our daughters away from this person. We don't want her to hurt Whitney and Simone like she hurt Liz.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Terrible. What do you mean you have no reason to doubt Liz? You just fucking met her.
I know. I was like, wait a second. Is there a history I missed?
What do you mean you have no reason to doubt Liz? You met her a half hour ago.
And then she immediately flies off the handle about this like despicable woman. I'd be like, honestly, like, are you schizoaffective? Like, what's going on?
And also, she is telling you this woman in your community is a pillar of your community. She is responsible, and she has risen to like a level that is respected in this community.
Yeah.
That means that person has been doing the work in this community to make people have people trusting them. That means that person has likely changed their ways, right?
Totally. But as TC said, people never change.
I hate him. I don't like, you don't know this bitch. You do not know Liz. But yeah, that's exactly what he says. Later on, because oh good lord, because right now he gets called away on a tennis emergency, which was which was so ridiculous. Like they're about to Liz is about to say who it is, and then a nurse is like, "Oh, TC, an official from that tournament that Whitney's in tomorrow is on the phone at the hospital."
Yeah,
why do they have
weird.
the hospital phone number to get in touch with TC to ask him about some kind of tennis thing? I don't know, but he
grief
leaves.
hospital. I mean, the grief counselor at the hospital for at least, I don't know, 20 hours a week.
At least he's there all the time, just following Eve around.
True.
So I guess he
True.
will just.
I think we've only ever seen TC at the school. He was a guidance counselor or whatever.
Is he a guidance counselor? He's the PE teacher / coach.
That's really the only time I can picture him completely away from Eve.
Yeah, because usually, even when we see him with Sam, it's Eve is in the next room. They're there together. Yeah. He's always with Eve. Let this woman breathe. So he gets called away for the tennis emergency, and then before he goes, he just tells Liz you're welcome to stay with us as long as you want. Just get the keys from Eve, right?
Totally.
So then Liz tells Eve, "You may have dodged the bullet this time, Eve, but sooner or later you will get hit with the truth, and I can't wait to see you crawl back into the gutter where you belong." Liz had some zingers this week. I will say she went low this week. And then she just goes on to keep giving her a piece of her mind. She says, "I want you to watch as I reveal each and every one of your trashy secrets. You tore my life apart, Eve, and now I'm going to pay you back for that. So you can kiss your comfy, cozy life and your loving family goodbye. I'm going to wipe out everything you built here. Your career, your friends, your family, everything." She threatens to expose Eve and destroy her entire life. But Eve says, I loved this. Eve says, "I can't stop you from telling what you know, but I can tell you this first. You don't know the whole story. You don't know why I did what I did." She apologizes, okay? Liz says that's not going to cut it. And then Eve says, "That's fine. You say you know me so well, then you know what I'm capable of." Oh, I loved that. That's a little chilling. Yeah. You say you know me so well, then you know what I'm capable of. Think about that before you start something that you might live to regret. Yeah,
totally.
You better say that to her. Yes. Think about that. You know what you said. I destroyed your life one time. I can do it again, bitch. That's basically what Eve is saying to her. Even though Eve did not destroy her life, Liz is being very, very dramatic.
Also, maybe Liz would just tell everyone, and then everyone would be okay, cool. Well, she either A, changed, or B, I don't believe you because she's been doing XYZ.
And you just showed up here and we don't know you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't freaking know you. Why would anybody believe Liz over Eve? What proof does she have?
Exactly.
Especially in this exact moment.
All just hearsay.
It's not like she brought anything with photo albums or anything with her. What proof does she have? So, yeah. Anyway, Liz is like, "Is that a threat?" And Eve's like, "I'm just telling you, I'm not going down without a fight. So stay away from me and stay away from my family." And she does tell her the least you could do is listen to my side of the story. So we're learning there's two sides to this story. Of course there is. And I remember, and you know what they're doing with Liz? Liz is the Simone and Eve is the Whitney. That's what they're doing, because I noticed that Liz has a lot of fire and smoke for Eve in this, but I know one of the major reasons why Liz is upset has to do with a man, and she doesn't seem to have any fucking smoke for that man right now, right? It seems to be all Eve's fault, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what all my notes about Simone are. It's like, well, why are you only mad at Whitney and not Chad?
At
It
all.
makes absolutely no sense. Like, oh, she's a slut and she's convincing him to love her and kissing it. And like, it's like, two to tango.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Exactly. So Liz is having kind of a similar situation here, where she's putting all the blame for the destruction of her life onto Eve. And so anyway, Eve rescinds her invitation to stay for Liz to stay at their house. She says, the invitation is withdrawn. Stay away from me and anybody I love, and I'm not gonna let you ruin my life. So then Eve and TC go back home. TC's racking his tiny little pea brain trying to figure out who this woman in the community that Liz is talking about could be. At one point he thinks it could be Rebecca, but then he's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. And I was like, yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense.
He was like, who's the sluttiest person I know?
Yeah. No, exactly. And so then Eve says a very reasonable thing to him about this mystery woman, saying like she's probably changed completely and started a new life and she's nothing like she was before. And TC says, you know, you're beautiful, my wife. You're so loving and kind. You always want to take the high road, always thinking the best of everyone. But sweetheart, in my experience, people don't change that much. They are what they are, good or bad, and that doesn't change their inner impulses. TC, you can't change. People can't change.
Exactly.
You've been the same your entire life. You've never.
Has.
I would never want to spend time with someone who is in their fucking 40s or 50s and they have not changed since they were 7, 8, 9, 10. You're the same you were at 17, at 45. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's that like meme going around that's like, I don't have like the person I have the least amount in common with is my like 2008 Facebook like profile posts or whatever.
Yeah, those Facebook memories are meant to humble us, right? Like, because I read that and I'm like, first of all, sometimes I read and I'm like, who does this bitch think she is? Like, I read those things. I'm like, who the hell did I think I was? Sometimes, now I will say sometimes I read them and I'm like, you know what? Solid. That was a solid burn or whatever it was. I'm like, yeah. Or it still tracks. I'm like, yep, nothing has changed. I actually, nope, we're already running long, so I'm not going to go off on another tangent. I'm not going to do it. So Liz shows up. The phone rings, and there's a knock at the door. TC goes to get the phone. Eve goes to the door. Surprise! It's Liz, who's like, "Fuck you, bitch! Your husband told me I could come and stay here, so I'm coming to stay here. What the fuck are you gonna do about it?" And Eve says to her, "What are you doing here, Liz?" And Liz says, "Isn't it obvious, Eve? I'm here to destroy you." I did love that line. I was like, yes, come on. This is why the episodes are getting so long. We are getting into a lot of good stuff and they're really starting to expand more because, and yes, it took forever for us to get here. We spent a lot of time building up these characters, getting to know them, giving them history together. Now we all have like a collective history to pull from and understand from. And now that they've done that work, they are giving us a lot more to kind of a lot more in the current story, not so much of telling us who these people are.
Yeah.
And yeah, it took almost 1,000 episodes, but we're doing it. So she says, "I can't wait to expose you to your husband and your daughters and show them what a lying slut you really are." So what can Eve do, right? If she tells the truth to TC, right, that she actually told TC or told Liz not that she can't come, she has to explain why she told Liz she can't come and stay at the house. So she has to let her come in and stay. TC comes back. He questions he does question Eve about why Eve had told him that Liz wasn't coming to stay. But Liz actually covers for her because Liz wants to torture her as much as for as long as possible. Good God. So then Liz like says to Eve, like, could you go get me a cup of tea if you don't mind? Sends her off to do her bidding. Eve goes, she picks up their like wedding album. Is like, oh my gosh, I love wedding pictures.
Yeah.
Just flipping through the wedding album. And she's like, oh, are these your family or Eve's family? He's like, oh, none of Eve's friends or family came to the wedding. And Liz is like, oh, that's strange. Why? And TC's like, I don't know. He's like,
It's weird though. Like no one, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
a major red flag for me. Like, yes. we ain't getting married till I meet someone you're related to.
Why is everyone you know dead? What do you mean?
Exactly. How long do you have?
Yeah. How long do I have? Right? Like you seem to be surviving, and everybody else around you keeps dropping dead. But so Eve comes back from the kitchen, and TC actually questions her about it, like because he's like, yeah, why weren't any of your friends or loved ones at the wedding? Because he did know some of it. He was like, oh, all of Eve's family was dead. Oh my God, what a gullible, stupid son of a bitch.
Seriously.
Yeah, but he does question her about it, and Eve explains, oh, I didn't have any relatives to invite. They were all dead. She had sedated them all to death. And then she says, and I was new in Harmony. I had just moved here. I hadn't had a chance to make any new friends. So I just made friends with TC's friends. I mean, okay, I guess. I mean,
yeah, I'm that person though. Like if you don't have friends, like any long-standing friends, we're not going to be friends because there's a reason you don't have long-standing friends.
Yeah, you don't have any friends or family. Nobody in this world cares about you. Yeah. Why? Right?
Which I guess like kind of it tracks for why Liz might hate her if she's hated by everyone else. Yeah. So, I mean, it like you said, it is highly suspicious. I would never, I wouldn't enter into a relationship with someone who didn't have any friends or family. But I certainly would not have. And what did that wedding look like? Was everybody just on the groom's side and on Eve's side? There's just nobody. Maybe they just like, I guess like sit anywhere. Was Grace the maid of honor?
Maybe. I feel like I don't know the timeline on because Noah is older than Whitney, so it makes sense that even TC have been married a shorter amount of time than Sam and Grace. So maybe when they met, Sam and Grace were already together, and then they became good friends. Then I think that makes sense. And so Grace probably was her maid of honor. So whatever. That's like the end of them this week. Let's quickly talk about Sam and Ivy. There's very little to talk about here, and we're gonna blast through this. Sorry, Karen, but we're gonna blast on through Sam, Ivy, Grace, and David. So Ivy's following Sam around after the elevator incident, because remember during that incident, David pulled that random lever, or it's not random. He pulled like the mechanical brake or whatever in the machine room that basically saved the day. He's not getting enough credit for that, to be honest. That basically saved everybody from dying. And after that happened, he and Grace ended up like in an embrace. I believe they kissed. I honestly can't remember, because to be honest, I don't give a shit about this. But I'm trying. I really am.
I just want to know when Ivy gets out of the chair, because I know she does. It's a long time. It's been like a very long time.
And we're not coming up on it anytime soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Imagine being that actress though. That had to be trying.
Yeah.
Like, because you're losing some of your expressiveness,
yeah, because you have to be in the chair and you can't
and your staging had to be annoying. Like you're like, like I sped it up to 1.5 at one point, and it was just funny because it was just like Ivy going around like Super Mario Karting.
Oh, it's hilarious. I watch it I watched today at 2 times speed because truthfully, I finished these episodes at we started recording at 1. I finished the episodes at 12:40.
Like, hurry.
Oh my God, I gotta get this one done. My mom called me this morning and I didn't talk to her yesterday. And so I had to talk to her for at least, a little while this morning. And so I got a little behind on my schedule, but that's okay. I got everything. I got it done. Like I always get it done. I always get it done.
Props.
Thank you. So Ivy is following him around. Sam is upset, right? Because he has walked away from seeing his wife in the arms of another man. And Ivy's following him around to kind of keep, I can't even say planting seeds of doubt anymore. It's like she's like hitting him with an oak tree of doubt, right?
Totally. She's like progressed beyond Beth.
Oh, way beyond. Oh, we're well past what Beth's doing right now. I mean, Ivy was doing the drug shit 400 episodes ago. So she tells him, that you've lost the woman you love to another man. And then they go back and forth. Of course, he's like, no, Grace would never. Grace, I love Grace. Grace is my wife, blah, blah, blah. She's just very nice. She's just a nice woman. Yeah, well, what's not so nice? Kissing other men. Kissing another man multiple times is not very nice, Sam. But he says, Grace is just being kind to David. She just feels sorry for him. And Ivy says, you're deluding yourself, which I agree. What'd you say?
Said she's pulling a Sheridan. She's just sacrificing her body and stuff
just so he won't be just so he won't be upset or uncomfortable or sad or whatever. But yeah, Ivy says he's deluding himself by believing that, and she tells him, I'm sure Grace is alone with David right now. Now, how does she know Grace is alone with David right now? It's because she called David and told David to go over to Grace's house because Grace was alone.
Surveilling her on this little TV.
Yep.
And Ivy says
cameras in her house.
When it comes to love, it doesn't matter what time it is. Like, that's what she said when David was like, it's kind of late to go over there.
Yeah. And what time is it?
True.
What time even is it? But so
he's so creepy, and
it is creepy. Evil. He's like watching her on his TV in his little hotel room or B&B room.
Also, like burgundy and cherry red were the colors of this week because she's wearing that like cherry red like sweatshirt, and like Whitney was wearing that like tracksuit, same color.
Yeah, she was. Yeah. And what's her name? Beth was in like that red jacket.
True. She took, yeah.
So yes, Ivy tips David off that Grace is at home alone and that he should go over there and comfort her. And so he does. So that's how Ivy, when she says to Sam, that's her trying to just planting that in his head, like, because she knows that that's what's going on right now. Right. Mm-hmm. So she says, I bet Grace is alone with David right now. And he's like, no, Grace would never do that to me. Well, what are you talking about? Grace is alone with David all the time.
Also, like, it doesn't why does it matter, like, being alone with someone?
You've walked in on her with him multiple times alone. But I guess it's because he just got upset because of them being, like, the position he caught them in. And so for her to continue being alone with him would be, like, adding insult to injury, I guess. I imagine. That's the only thing I can think.
Well, it's also, like, I think I would give my significant other the benefit of the doubt, like, oh, it was a heightened thing, you guys were embracing it out of the fact that like everyone almost died, and like, I don't know.
Okay, I would not. I'm not giving you the benefit.
You're like, wow, you're a pretty peaceful Scorpio. Interesting.
Listen, I personally, and also, well, to go back to that Scorpio, I'm a Scorpio sun and a Capricorn moon and a Capricorn rising. So I'm like very no nonsense, right?
Yeah.
And loyalty is huge to me. So yeah, no, why the fuck do y'all need to kiss just because we didn't die? That doesn't, no, y'all don't need to kiss.
Yeah, I guess when you put it that way, I thought just like, if like you're hugging someone and you like have history, it's like, okay, but not the kiss thing. But also they are technically still married right now.
Technically still married. And why haven't y'all gotten that annulled? Frankly, if I'm Sam, I'm cutting my losses with Grace.
Same, yeah, same. I'm like, I'm a smoke show. Like, look at me shirtless and oiled. I can go have my pick of the litter.
And also, Ivy's like knocking down my door, lady. Ivy's knocking down my door. So, yeah, go ahead and have David, I guess. But he does love Grace. He does love Grace. He really does.
Yeah.
And he thinks of himself as this very, very noble man.
You're like a good Christian guy.
He wants his marriage. He chose this woman, and this is the choice he's going to make every single day until he dies.
Also, he did like find her, rescue her from a fire, like work through the amnesia thing, like work through all like the weird, like charity-esque things.
Mm-hmm. They have kids together. They have a life together. They've been together for over 20 years at this point. They, that's a tough thing to give up. It is, but I probably have to do it. And yeah, to you saying like, you give them the benefit of the doubt. I will say, one thing I know for sure, men do not deserve the benefit of the doubt from me. They've never earned it. I used to give men the benefit of the doubt all the time, and they always proved me fucking wrong every single time, to the point that I was like, you know what? They don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. In fact, I should start with the doubt, and they should have to work there, like prove to me that I'm wrong. So.
I actually just came to that myself, though, in my life, because I used to just give people respect, trust that they were good, like their intentions were pure, and then it was like, oh, I'd always get like my ass handed to me. So now I'm like trying to be the other way around. So.
It takes a long time. It took me quite a while before I got to that point where I was like, you know what? These men do not deserve the benefit of my doubt. Like, they don't deserve it. They haven't earned it. They haven't earned it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do. Some people have earned it. So I will say, to your point with the two of them, Sam and Grace, Grace does deserve the benefit of his doubt because they have a life together.
Like loyal and faithful.
Yeah, they have a life together. Yeah, for sure. So anyway, he rushes off to go find his wife. It's much to Ivy's delight, because she knows that he's going to find his wife in the arms of another man. And David goes over to be with Grace. He just comforts her because she's worried about Sam. She's like, I've called the dispatch. I called the precinct, and he's not there. And I'm just worried about, because he saw us together, and I'm sure he's really upset. And I'm so worried about him. He comforts her by hugging her and trying to kiss her. She pulls away.
That was crazy.
Yeah. She pulls away from him, though. So kudos to Grace on that, to be honest. But then they go right back into like hugging each other again, because she says, I do have feelings for you, but I love Sam, but I do have feelings for you. And blah, blah, blah. They embrace again. Ivy and Sam show up. Instead of going inside of his home, he stands outside and lurks through the window. And
this week was brought to you by Window Treatment.
Yes. Yes. He goes there, and he's standing and looking through the window. He can't believe what he's seeing. His wife hugging David, although he says she's in his arms. And Ivy's like, yeah, I told you so. And then she's like, you know what, Sam, why don't you just come home with me? You mean to Theresa's house? Why don't you just come home with me? I'll make you a drink. We can talk about it. And he says, no, I need to be here with my wife. Like, I need to talk to my wife. Yeah, exactly. And she says, well, why can't you just accept that Grace has chosen David over you? But he says, no, I can't. I need to stay here. I need to talk to Grace. Well, Ivy takes this chance to disable her own wheelchair, right? Because she had to do something. So she tears a piece out of her wheelchair, and then she's like, oh, I can't, this thing won't move. Oh, I guess I'll call someone to come pick me up. And he's like, no, you're in this wheelchair because of me. I will take you. The least I can do is take you home. But you know what? Can't we go inside first? Talk to Grace?
Totally.
But he does not do that. He scoops her up out of the wheelchair and he takes her home. That's all we have with them this week.
It's a wheelchair, so like the wheels move even if the electronics break. Am I wrong about that?
I guess what she was... Yeah, I don't actually, that's a question for somebody else. I don't know because it is motorized, but I would imagine there's a way you can like,
There's like a failsafe.
yeah, a way that you can like basically put it into neutral, kind of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like you can unlock the wheels or something. I don't know.
But they just wanted Sam to carry Ivy around,
Yeah.
so that's how
I
we got
don't
there.
All right, that's all there is for that portion, y'all. But I still got like, let me see how many notes I have for Theresa, Ethan, Gwen. Did we already? Please tell me we did. We didn't do Whitney, did we?
No, we have Chad and Whitney and Theresa, Ethan, and Gwen.
Oh my god!
I mean, I still have 5 notes.
Oh my god! I have to do better because I still have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I still have 5 pages of notes. Oh my god! We're gonna blast through these. We're gonna blast them. I promise. We're gonna get through fast-ish. So fast-ish. These are like my favorite storylines.
Yeah,
but
totally.
we're gonna start with Chad and Whitney first because I feel like I can get through the Theresa stuff a lot faster, and we can just really blast through that. But we'll give them Chad and Whitney some real quality time here today. So we pick up this week. Kay is advising Simone. Oh, I shudder to think.
Yeah, actually, I just got chills, legitimately. I was like, whoa.
Kay is advising Simone on what she should do in this situation wherein she has heard Whitney express her love to Chad. She's very angry. Simone's like, no, I'm not going to listen to you, Kay, because Kay's advice to Simone is that she can't just go in there and angry and confront Whitney and act like a teenager. She has to act like a mature woman about this, right? They go back and forth about what Simone should do. And then Kay tells her there's no telling how long this has been going on behind your back. But Simone then says to her, well, it's not Chad, it's Whitney. What the fuck do you mean?
Ugh.
What do you mean?
So weird.
It's not Chad, it's Whitney. And you know what? I can give her a little bit right now because at this moment, the only thing she has heard is Whitney telling Chad that she loves him. She didn't hear what Chad said to her, but in a little bit, she's going to see for herself what really is going on. And she's still going to be saying these kinds of things. So she says, it's not Chad, it's Whitney. To which Kay retorts that she says, I always thought that it was mutual between Chad and Whitney. Yeah, because everybody thinks is Simone, baby, get a clue by a vowel, right? Because everybody is saying the same thing. Your mother, Kay, the Charity even was like, oh, you and Chad? Like, yeah, because everybody.
She was like, I was in a coma, but I know.
Even I know. I was in a block of fucking ice, and even I know that Chad does not love you. But she refuses to hear it or believe it. But Kay says, I always thought that it was mutual between Chad and Whitney. And Simone says, well, if that's true, why didn't they tell me? And Kay says, well, maybe because they knew that your dad would go crazy because you know how he is. He wants Whitney to play tennis. He doesn't want her in a relationship. And Simone's like, yeah, okay, you're making a lot of sense. And then Simone, who was very resistant to what Kay was saying to her for the first part of this, Simone starts to listen to Kay. Simone starts to say, Kay, you're making a lot of sense. And Kay tells her, okay, thank you for listening. Now, this is what you're going to do. You're not going to go in there and make a scene because if you do, then your parents will end up saying no Chad for either one of you, right? Because they don't want their daughters fighting over the same boy. So you won't ever be able to see Chad again, but Whitney probably will still be seeing him behind everybody's back because that's what she's been doing anyway. She'll just keep sneaking around the same way she already has. So Kay tells her, and truthfully, this was so good. I'm sorry, Kay's evil, but she's there's something about her. Hannah on the Discord today posted this great thing about like last week's episodes and like a lot of the stuff that's been going on. But one of the things she talked about was how they make it so easy for us to root for the villains in this show. Like, and this is a moment where I'm like, Kay, this is fucking evil, but yeah, You're right. She says to her, play dumb. Pretend like you didn't hear what you heard. Yeah. Yes. Play dumb. What? Play dumb, especially now that you have the knowledge, right? Before she was working at a disadvantage. Now she's at an advantage because clearly they don't want to tell her the truth.
Yeah.
Right. They have to tell her the truth for her to stop doing this. But she tells her, play dumb, pretend like you didn't hear anything. Don't let anything show. And just keep doing what you're doing, like kiss Chad. And then she also tells her, now the way you're going to get Chad to be like yours solidly is that you have to use your womanly wiles. You have to use your body on him. And I did like what Simone said to her. Simone was like, you want me to use my body like you used your body to get Miguel? Look how great that turned out for you, Kay. Yeah. Solid. That's a solid retort. And so Simone says, I'm not you, Kay, and Kay basically tells her, if you don't do what I tell you, then your sister is going to get Chad. And then Simone's like, you know what? You're right. I'll do whatever it takes because I'm not going to lose Chad to Whitney no matter what. So Kay tells her, you need to learn to manipulate. That's what she tells her, like flat out. That's not me paraphrasing. That's what Kay said to her. You got to learn to manipulate and you have to learn to be cool while you're doing it. And Simone's like, I don't care what I have to do. I will lie, cheat, and steal to get Chad. What? Why?
I just feel like they might be in like a man desert in Harmony. That's
gotta be it.
Like the ratio of men to women must be like terrible. You know how you can like look that up online? Like, it's hard to date and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And
it's like 5 to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a 12 to 1 ratio.
Yeah,
here.
because why else are you so incredible, ready to debase yourself so thoroughly for a man that doesn't want you? But whatever. So let's talk about this. So that conversation is going on in the hallway. Meanwhile, Chad and Whitney are having a conversation where Whitney has agreed to tell Simone and her family the truth. She's like, she has poured out her soul to Chad. She said, I love you, Chad. I want us to be together. And I'm willing. Chad's like, well, you have to tell Simone about us. You have to tell your family about us. And she's like, I will do it. They're like, start to go to do it. And she immediately backpedals.
I know. It was like 5
Brother, this guy stinks!
I'm sorry, Whitney, what the fuck are you doing?
Also, they definitely 110% told her parents already.
They did.
Like, that happened. I was like, I thought Chad and Whitney told her parents.
You are right. That did happen. It did happen. And Eve remembers it. Eve has brought it up multiple times.
But
and
TC was there too.
Yes. Eve and TC were both there. Now, TC has decided to deny it and pretend like it didn't happen because he doesn't want it to be happening, right? And he and Eve had a conversation about that wherein he like blew up and like told her like, I can't talk to you right now. And then later on, he basically says the exact same thing that Eve said, which was that he is living vicariously through Whitney, and that's why, and she's like meant for the greatness that he never could achieve, and that's why he doesn't want her dating. So
But like
Eve was
also,
right.
like Barack Obama had a wife. That's how I feel about. It's just like you can be successful and disciplined and still have a partner. In fact, it's easier.
Yeah.
If you have some emotional support.
Yeah. No, TC's he's very weird about purity. And this whole show is very weird about purity, but TC in particular is very he's got a weird relationship with Whitney and her, like, maybe not her virginity, so to speak, but it almost feels like he doesn't want her to be tarnished by another man, right? Like that her being with having a boyfriend and being with a man would like tarnish her in some way and make her less valuable weirdly as a tennis player. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. So anyway, she backslided. She backpedals immediately. Immediately, they don't make it 3 steps before she's like, well, actually, I've been thinking about it, and I think there's a way that we can still be together without hurting Simone or disappointing TC. And the plan is doing exactly what they've been fucking doing. Mm-hmm. That's the plan. Just spoiler alert. The plan is just continue doing what we've been doing, which is hurting Chad and doesn't fucking work. Mm-hmm. So basically what she says to him is, right now we just need to give them both what they want. What? Mm-hmm. She says, Simone wants to be with you. My dad wants me to win at tennis. So we just need to give them what they want. You be with Simone and I'll win big at tennis. Where do we get together and tell the truth? Well, then she says it's a perfect plan. She calls it a perfect plan. She says, I'm going to play in this tennis tournament tomorrow. And it's the same tournament that my dad never got to play in. And when I play it tomorrow, I'm going to win it. You don't know that, first of all. But she says, when I play in it tomorrow, I'm going to win. And as far as Simone goes, maybe you could just ease your way out of that relationship. But she tells him to keep pretending to be Simone's boyfriend for the time being. And then over time, ease his way out of the relationship so that she thinks that maybe they don't have as much in common as she thought, and that maybe they not
don't have anything in common. Like, they don't hang out, they don't have anything in common. Just rip the Band-Aid off, break up with her, let her cry about it, and then 2 months later date her.
Well, that's what they should do. But anyway, this plan is, you just string Simone along and over time create situations wherein she will realize that the two of you don't really belong together. And then she says, and that you aren't right for each other. She says, I mean, she's not stupid. She's going to pick up on the fact that you guys don't have a connection and that you don't have a real relationship. She hasn't picked it up so far.
Exactly. I was like,
she hasn't picked it up so far. And then she says, and then we can pretend that we're just now falling in love. When Chad objects to this plan, because he's like, this is just deceitful and it's more lies and I don't want to do this. She says, well, sometimes you have to lie to protect the people that you love. It'll work, Chad. My dad's dreams will come true and I won't have to break my own sister's heart. Your sister, you think your sister will thank you for dating her ex?
Yeah. I wrote, sometimes you have to lie to protect the people that you love down too. I was like, where does Whitney get this narrative? Is it passed on through generational trauma with Eve? Because I guess Eve sort of believes that, but it's such a weird belief system.
Yeah, because maybe it's passed down in her blood through Eve, but I think it's more Theresa's influence than anything else. Oh,
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I feel like, yes, Theresa lies to Ethan, but it's more like a scared little girl tells a white lie. It's not like a...
I don't know. I can't call them white lies. I can't. Look, I have my girl on today. I stay decked out with my girl, Theresa. I love her, but they were big lies. They're big lies. I truly believe that Whitney feels like it's her turn to do something that's somewhat selfish, and deceitful in what she believes is the pursuit of, one, her happiness, but also everyone's happiness. Although I can see, okay, the TC stuff, okay, fine, maybe. The Simone stuff makes 0 sense.
Yeah.
0 sense. At what point? I don't give a shit if I dated him 15, 20 years ago. You don't have any business, as my sister, dating him. Mm-hmm. You don't. Let alone 2 months.
I mean, I don't have a sister, so I don't know.
Well, don't you have brother? Yes.
Yeah.
How would you feel if your brother dated one of your exes?
If he just all of a sudden was gay.
Yeah, if you had, say you had a bisexual brother and he linked up with one of your exes one day, wouldn't that be pretty crazy and weird? Yeah.
I guess it depends on if like that person and I broke up because he was just like, "Oh, I'm gay now." I'd be like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah. So it's okay.
It's okay for me. I don't know.
Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. I just, no, you can't. No. And
Yeah.
what? I'm supposed to look at my ex at Christmas. I'm supposed to look at my ex at Thanksgiving. I'm so on holidays when we're having like birthdays. It's my birthday and you're bringing my ex to the birthday party. No, no,
I guess. I don't know.
no. It's not. No, that I know. I'll say it for you. I know it for you, Kelly. Okay, I know it for you. Okay. So anyway, this stupid fucking plan. Chad agrees.
So dumb.
He eventually agrees. I hate this plan. She says it's a perfect plan, which was crazy to me. There's so many flaws. There's so many flaws in this plan.
It's also like a plan that you've been doing for years now, it feels like. So
Yeah,
why
it's the
is
same
it
thing
any
you've been
better?
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing you've been doing.
Except you're gonna now breadcrumb your way out of this relationship with Simone. That's the only new part of the plan.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, they decide to do this plan. Meanwhile, Simone and Kay are standing outside of this room looking through the window, watching, and can hear the conversation. They actually can hear the conversation because they overhear Chad. Well, they didn't. Sorry, let me be clear. They do not hear the portion of the plan where Chad. I'm sorry, where Whitney says like, "I'll do this, you'll pretend, you'll just pretend to be Simone's boyfriend or whatever." But she does. She basically does see them like kissing and hugging, and that they're together, and them talking about like being together. Chad and Whitney make a plan to meet up later that night on the wharf for like a little clandestine good night kiss or whatever. Yeah. And so Simone and Kay hear this and just decide to obviously show up when that happens. Simone's super angry. She places all the blame on Whitney, even though she literally saw her boyfriend, who she thinks is her boyfriend, kissing her sister and smiling at her and talking to her and embracing her and hiding in a room together. But yeah, it's all Whitney's fault.
Has like TC's anger.
Yeah, she has TC's anger and his computing ability, like her ability to figure out what's actually going on, or I guess delude herself. That's what it is. She's like deluding herself into believing that it's all Whitney's fault. It's not Chad. She calls her sister like a slut and a whore, and she's so I'm gonna show her, Chad loves me and not her. And it's like, but you just saw him kissing her.
Yeah. And it wasn't like he pulled away. It was like a mutual.
And at what point has he ever leaned in to kiss you? Never.
Except in that like weird maze when he thought he was kissing Whitney.
He thought he was kissing Whitney. Ooh, good callback. I forgot about that. Yes, during like the mist or whatever.
Oh yeah, the mist where like Ivy almost jumps out the window.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. So eventually, we're gonna skip ahead. Eventually, Chad heads out to the wharf to meet up with Whitney. He gets there first. Then Simone and Kay get there, and Kay kind of hangs back, and she pushes Simone over to Chad, saying like, "You need to go and get your man, girl." And so she sends her over there. And Simone sees him, grabs him, and is like, "Oh, Chad, what are you doing here? I'm so glad to see you." Like, and she kisses him, and then Whitney walks in, seeing them kissing, but she's fine with it because this was her fucking plan, right? Totally. So, then to keep Whitney and Chad separated, Simone sees Whitney and is like, "Oh, Whitney, what are you doing here?" And Whitney's like, "Oh, I was just out to get some air, just for a late night walk." And so then Simone asks,
Simone said something funny about like the air. It's like, "Oh, well, you enjoy that fresh air," or something like that.
Yeah, because at one point she was like, "Isn't this air romantic?" Like, is it? If you say so, like Ethan said, if you say so. So Simone asks Chad, like, what are you doing, Chad? What are you doing for the rest of the night? And he's like, oh, I was going to go to the studio and work on some music. And she's like, well, I'll come with you. And he's like, oh, I guess it's a free country. And so she leaves with Chad, effectively keeping Chad and Whitney separated.
Yeah.
And frankly, I want to say this. Now that Simone basically knows what's going on between Whitney and Chad, I am enjoying this a little bit more because there's at least a level of her understanding there and a level of her thinking, even if it is scheming, even if it is and which we love scheming. We love a good scheme, right? So that's more interesting to me. That's more compelling to me that she now knows and she is actively working to keep these two people apart. So
yeah, I thought she did a good job too.
She did a great job.
Well,
she did a great job. So I love that. Kay says something snarky to Whitney, whatever. Who gives a shit? Thank God we don't have magic to do this week. We'd be on a million more hours.
Totally. The only thing I will say about that whole thing is when like Kay and Simone have that conversation about like our parents have secrets. Like people always everyone has secrets. I'm like, why is that the thing that like is touted in Harmony? Like, I feel like maybe I'm a weirdo. I don't have that many secrets. Do you have a lot of secrets that you'd be like, oh God?
Just like 2 or 3. I have like, no, I have like 2 or 3 secrets that I would love that I will be taken to my grave. Like nobody needs to know that. But I don't know if I have any
out. Would they be earth shattering or would they just be a little embarrassing?
I'm gonna plead the fifth. No, I have like a couple. One would just be embarrassing, but there's 2 that I definitely would be like, ooh, this is bad. This is really upending my life. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So don't y'all try to go digging on me. You won't find anything. Trust. All right, let's move on. Let's blast through Theresa and Ethan. Theresa is sad. Ethan doesn't want her. Gwen tells Theresa, don't go after Ethan anymore. That's basically it. But
yeah, I mean, Pilar throws down for Theresa, which is cool. Theresa prays a lot. She has a conversation with Whitney. She's really happy for her friend.
Yeah, we're gonna blast through this very quickly. Pilar finds Theresa distraught on the docks. They discuss what happened with Ethan. Then Gwen and Rebecca are also discussing things, and then they find Theresa and Pilar together on down at the wharf. I interchangeably call it the docks or the wharf. So it's all the same place. Theresa and Pilar, Rebecca and Gwen. Rebecca and Gwen find Theresa and Pilar, and they stop to gloat, obviously, because Gwen believes that she will be getting engaged to Ethan tonight. And Rebecca says a lot of very racist things to Pilar, and Pilar returns by punching this bitch and pulling out some of her hair. Like she's choking out Rebecca. It was great. She chokes out Rebecca because she's talking so much of horrible things about her kids, and it was just nasty. She pulls out some of her hair, and they like tussle. They fall to the ground, and it's a real struggle. Yeah. The girls, the daughters, separate their mothers. They pull them off of each other. Rebecca continues to talk shit, which is like, girl, do you have a death wish? Are you trying to go into the ocean right now? Because Pilar really was beating her ass. She used to be.
It was like when she threw her in the fountain.
Yeah. And she still keeps talking. But yeah, she keeps talking crazy. She says, your family brought it on themselves, especially you, Theresa. I mean, you are nothing but a conniving little gold digger who thought you could have your way with Ethan. Well, you couldn't. So you got nothing, nada. And that's exactly what you deserve. Except, baby, you live in my house, bitch. You live at my fucking house. What do you mean I got nothing? I have everything except for Ethan. You live at my house, eat at my table, eating my food. You live at my fucking pleasure. Remember that. Oh God, Rebecca. And so Gwen like escorts Rebecca away. Then that's when she sees Antonio and formulates her plan to get revenge on Pilar by basically killing him.
Yep.
And we get all of that with her. So back with Pilar and Theresa. Pilar is very upset. She's like, how dare she? And blah, blah, blah. Calls her, says, you know, she's the biggest slut in Harmony. She's the biggest deviant in Harmony. How dare she call you a slut? Yeah. And it was funny because Teresa's like, yeah, I know, Mama. I heard about the donkey and Rebecca at the night of the party. And I was like, ugh. And Pilar says, I know. I should report her to the ASPCA.
That was awesome.
That's so funny. So anyway, Pilar tries to get her to go home. Teresa's not ready to go home yet. There's some back and forth. Gwen comes in after Pilar goes to like get some hot chocolate. They're always going to get hot chocolate. Gwen comes back. She tells Theresa, you know, let's call a truce. I want to settle this feud between us. And then she tells her, I want you to promise me that you're never going to go after Ethan again. Theresa says to her, you do not have to warn me away from Ethan. He made his choice and he chose you. Now, I want to note, Theresa did not make any promises to Gwen.
Yeah.
She
also,
did not make
like Gwen's like, oh, you need to play fair. It's like, when have you ever played fair, bitch? Like,
also,
you're the queen of scheme.
Also, I don't owe you any fucking loyalty. In case you forgot, I don't like you. We're enemies. I can do anything I want to you. I said that wrong, but it's not, there's no like, I'm not wrong if I lie to you. I don't like you, right? Like we're not even close to being friends. And also you live in my house. Let's go again.
Totally.
So I just want to note that Theresa does not promise Gwen that she won't go after Ethan anymore. What she says to her is, you don't have to warn me away from Ethan. He made his choice and he chose you. And then Gwen says, Ethan choosing me has never stopped you from going after him before. You'll understand she says, you'll understand me if I don't believe you. You and I have been rivals for Ethan's love for years. And yes, there was a time when Ethan chose you over me, asked you to marry him over me. And after that, I had the decency to step aside and let you two have your happiness that you destroyed by yourself by repeatedly lying to him. But that's not true. She didn't step aside. She didn't. She was always there. And I will defend Gwen in that the same way I defended Theresa, where it is that Gwen made herself available to Ethan.
Yeah. And
Ethan came and picked her back up. That's what happened. And that's what happened the first time. Theresa made herself available to Ethan and Ethan picked her up.
Also, like I feel like it feels like Gwen is substantially older than Theresa.
She's at least 5 years older than Theresa.
Yeah, because like, I just feel like it's like Gwen scolding a child at this point.
Yeah. Because they were adults and Theresa was still in high school. Yeah. So Gwen goes on. She says, here's the deal. I was miserable when you took Ethan away from me. But Theresa didn't take Ethan. Ethan walked his ass over there.
Yeah.
Actually, he didn't walk. He ran, drove. Any way he could get to Theresa, he was getting to her. She says, I was miserable when you took Ethan from me, but I have him back now. And since I do, I want you to just back off. We're not engaged yet, but I know Ethan's going to propose soon and give me the ring that you thought he bought for you. So listen, you stay out of our way. Ethan is mine. You be a gracious loser and disappear. I mean, that doesn't inspire me to not fuck with you anymore.
Totally. Yeah. Wrong approach.
Yeah, none of that inspires me to like take the high road, baby. And so this is when Pilar, she leaves. Pilar comes back. Pilar's like hot. Like Pilar just is ready to fight because Pilar's like, is that Gwen? I'm gonna give her a piece of my mind. And Teresa's like, no. It's fine, Mama. I've lost Ethan and there's nothing I can do about it. And Theresa says that she's accepted that she's lost Ethan and she won't make a fool of herself anymore. She says, I won't make a fool of myself anymore. But I am going back to the hospital to check on Ethan.
I was like, just call the hospital. Just be like, hey, how's this dude?
And they are not supposed to tell her anything. But when she gets there.
Again. HIPAA violation.
Yeah, when she gets there, they're like, oh, let me check his chart and read it to you. So meanwhile, Ethan is at the hospital. He has a conversation with Eve about like the past and relationships and things like that. We're running long, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But basically, Eve talks about Theresa not being able to accept the end of the relationship. And she tells him, I'm not going to say that Theresa hasn't made bad mistakes because goodness knows that she has. But it does seem to me that everything she has done, right or wrong, she's done out of love for you. I think Theresa loves you more than she loves herself, which is going to be a running theme here, right? Like people saying basically Theresa loves you more than she even loves herself. And I actually think that's absolutely true. Theresa 100%. Loves Ethan to her own detriment, to the detriment of her own family, to the detriment of her son, right? Like it's unhealthy. The attachment is unhealthy. But I do think Theresa, she definitely values his life over hers. We know that for a fact by the fact that she has basically kind of given her life for his twice, right? The first time with her execution and the second time throwing herself down the elevator shaft. So anyway, Ethan starts to doubt. Doubt starts to creep in. Doubt creeps in. Have you seen Hadestown?
Oh yeah, I saw that on the West End. Remember with Peter Neal? Yeah, so good,
so good. I love Hadestown. So doubt creeps in, and he's like, no. Theresa lied to me. Have you forgotten about that? Like, yeah, we get it. And she says, I'm not suggesting you reconcile with Theresa. I know that for everything she did to show you how much she loved you, she did something else to tarnish that love. But it was never malicious. She was always coming from the heart. Theresa just has a history of lying, which is also, I have so many good titles to choose from this week. I really do. Theresa just has a history of lying is hilarious to me.
But again, I feel like I've said this a bunch of times, but like, yeah, I agree with Eve. Like, she's never malicious towards Ethan. It's always coming out of like a little bit of like fear of getting in trouble or like fear of losing him or whatever that she lies. So it's never like, I don't know.
And I think we've talked about before that she has abandonment issues for sure with her father leaving her the way he did, and then Antonio also leaving. And so
little anxious attachment, girly.
Oh my God, yes, that is definitely her attachment style, anxious as hell.
Because she's like willing to self-sacrifice and just like she loves him more than she loves herself.
Yeah. As long as he chooses her and is with her, then it doesn't matter like what it doesn't matter how she got there and what she had to give to get it, right? Ethan says his same old line about like, I can't trust her, and how can we have how can we have a relationship without trust? And you understand that, don't you, Dr. Russell? And she's like, yeah, I do. He's like, and you know, he kind of says to her like, what do you even know about it? Because your relationship with TC is so perfect and y'all have a perfect life.
I can't believe he like idolizes them so hard.
I don't get that at all.
Yeah, me either.
It's definitely not giving happy marriage. At all. But then she says, you know, no relationship is perfect. And everybody has their secrets, and every relationship has their ups and downs. And then they just recap about how horribly all the love, all the relationships are going in harmony right now.
Yeah.
And so then they finish that conversation. Then Sheridan comes in. They have a conversation about Luis. Obviously, we already talked about that. But the portion of that conversation about Theresa is this. Sheridan visits, they talk about Luis, and then they talk about her, Ethan's relationship woes, right, in general. And he advises her not to give up on Luis, blah, 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 saying, only a year ago, you were at the two of you were at the altar. And she turns that around on him saying, yeah, so were you and Theresa. We were there together. Remember?
Double wedding.
Right. And then she says this. She goes on and says, she says, even though Gwen is my oldest and dearest friend, I can't forget about the passion that you had for Theresa. And she says, there's just something in your voice that tells me that you're not completely happy with Gwen. What kind of friend is this?
I actually wrote, dang, Sheridan spitting truth bombs. Because
Right, like, look, you can. She's just telling him how she feels, and I get that. And I guess her loyalty is more with Ethan than it is with Gwen because she and Ethan are practically family.
Well,
So
also, like, Theresa is Luis's and Antonio's sister.
yeah, but Gwen is your best friend. She
We've
says
always
she's my
known
oldest
they're
and
not.
best friend. And I agree. I don't think they're really friends at all. But, well, Gwen is a friend to her. Sheridan is not a friend to Gwen. That's how I feel. Because this is not something a friend would say. This is something you keep to yourself. It's something you keep to yourself because you need to just let them work this out by themselves. You shouldn't even be, if you feel one way or the other, should not even come into play. Like, you shouldn't be advising Ethan about his relationship with Gwen in a way that's going to negatively affect it. And it's going to, if he comes to that conclusion on his own, great. But you putting that in his ear is really, and saying that she's your best friend is really fucked up. It's really fucked up.
True.
Also,
Sheridan's pretty hysterical at that moment, so she probably doesn't even remember half the stuff that came out of her mouth.
That's true, and she probably is just right now. All she can think about is like true love, and I gotta get my true. Like, she's all upset about love and losing out on your true love, so she doesn't want Ethan to lose out on his true love, which I get and I understand. So maybe if she was more rational, she wouldn't have done this, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I mean, I liked it in the sense that I'm rooting for Theresa, but as far as like her character and saying that she's best friends with Gwen and then doing this, I thought was like kind of slimy, personally.
Yeah. Especially
so,
because like Gwen had just gone to bat for her with Antonio, like
exactly.
on the wharf or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, she says all of that. She says Gwen is my oldest and dearest friend. And I can't forget about the passion, but she says, I don't want you to lose the love of your life. Whoever she is. It's like, but you're clearly advocating for Theresa.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that they have that conversation. That adds more doubt, creeps in. It adds more doubt into Ethan's head, right? Like, now he's had this conversation with Eve, and now he's having this conversation with Sheridan, both two people that he highly respects, right? Especially Sheridan, and really values their opinion. So at this point, Theresa shows up to the hospital to check on Ethan. She goes to the nurse's station and asks for an update, and the nurse tells her, like, oh, let me just look. Oh, yeah, he's about to be released, blah, blah, blah. And she asks her, do you want to see him? And Theresa says, no, that's okay. And I was like proud of my girl for a moment. Honestly, I do think if Theresa had just kind of stuck to this, she would have been golden, right? Like, I think Ethan needs to really, really realize that he can actually lose Theresa. Theresa won't let him go, so he knows she's always an option for him. She'll always be there. She'll always be for a crutch for him to lean on if he needs it, if he wants it. If he wants her, he can have her. He likes having that. And so I think she really needs to like go cold turkey on him for him to realize what he's missing out on, right?
Yeah, well, because she does eventually sort of do that with Fox, and like that gets Ethan really jealous down the line.
So again, I think this could have worked, but she buckles so fucking fast. So she says, no, I'm actually, no, I'm not gonna go see him. I just wanted to make sure he was okay. All right, girl, go on about your bad self. So Whitney sees Theresa, they bring each other up to speed on what's going on with them, whatever. The same thing is going on with Ethan and Chad. Chad then comes in and starts advocating for Theresa as well, right? Now that he's like inspired by the fact that he and Whitney have gotten back together. Yeah, they're not back together, but I mean, they're as together as they ever were. So he tells, they have a conversation, and he advocates for Theresa. Ethan begins having doubt creeps in. He starts having more doubts. He's having second thoughts at this point about proposing to Gwen.
Well, yeah, the POV engagement was crazy.
Okay, yes. So this was actually nuts. Okay. First of all, after being inspired by Chad and Whitney, Theresa decides, I'm going to try again with Ethan one more time. It was, 12 seconds since she said she had given up? Fine, whatever. But then we see the Ethan gets like this rose from like a gift shop or whatever. He gets like a rose and he's got the ring or whatever. And a nurse comes in and says, Ethan, there's a woman here to see you. And he says, send her in. And he says, oh, I'm glad you're here. I want this to be perfect. And I wrote, then maybe don't do it in a hospital with a gift shop rose. I don't know. No. I don't know. He's like, I want this to be perfect. But it's the POV. We see it from the POV of the whoever he's talking to, right? So we can't see who they are. It turns out to be Theresa. He gets down on one knee. He proposes to her. She says yes. Turns out to be Theresa. I wrote in my notes, it turns out to be Theresa, which makes this just one of Theresa's little loony loops. Mm-hmm. But then my very next note is, wait, Passions actually got me. It wasn't Theresa's loony loop. It was Ethan's. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Ethan is fantasizing about, not only fantasizing, acting out, LARPing, if you will, like acting out, proposing to Theresa. But he was like in a weird trance, like, because he came out, he was like, what the hell was that?
He was like, wait, what? It was like, yeah, dude.
Yeah. And so as he's getting up off of the floor, off of one knee, he's like, he trips, loses his balance, and he starts to fall over. Theresa sees this, comes in and like helps him up, and helps him steady himself. And they both say like, you know what? I'm glad you're here. There's something I need to tell you, right? Ethan tells her, there's something I need to say to you. She should have just let him fucking talk.
Totally.
I think she should have just let him talk. But Theresa says, let me go first. So she gives this long speech about how she loves him more than anything in the world. She wants him to be happy in his life, and in the future. And if that's with Gwen, then so be it. And she apologizes. She says, I'm really sorry for all the lies, but what is done is done. And I am paying for my mistakes. And she says, I just don't want you to ever forget that what it was like for us when we got engaged. And you know, I know you were happy back then and we were so in love. And she says, I know I ruined it all with my lies and I was really stupid, but I never meant to hurt you or cause you any unhappiness. We had an incredible love. And then she says, and we can again. So much for I've given up on Ethan.
I know. I was like, oh, just walk away from the other.
I know, girl, stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up. He says, and we can, she says, and we can again, if you can just find it in your heart to forgive me and take me back. Can you do that, Ethan? Could this ring you bought really be for me? They could have left that out. First of all, it's a weird line. Second of all, who wants a ring that you bought for somebody else?
Thirdly, it wasn't nearly as good as his first engagement ring.
No, it wasn't. You're right. It's just a little solitary stone.
Yeah.
Well, he's broke now too, so.
Oh yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah.
He's on a budget. He's probably got like a 30-year payments on that shit, like $2 a month for the next 30 years.
Hopefully you kept the receipt.
Yeah. Yes. She says, I know I don't deserve any more chances, but I do know that I want to be a different person with you. I want to stop being afraid of losing you. I did enjoy this portion of it because she's being very honest with Ethan about what her motives were. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we've heard her say it a few times. Like, I just don't want to lose Ethan. I don't want to lose Ethan. But I feel like she doesn't say it to Ethan quite enough. And so she says, I want to stop being afraid of losing you. I'm afraid of losing you. And I do want to trust our love. I just don't, baby. She just needs a little therapy. That's all it is, right? And she said, I want to trust our love like you did because I know that your feelings for me were true, just like my feelings for you were. Ethan, I love you with all my heart, and could you find in your heart to forgive me and take me back? I swear I do everything in my power to. She is begging. Get up, Theresa.
It like starts okay, but then it quickly spirals out of control.
Yes. So she says,
I actually was thankful for Gwen's appearance. I was like, I wish she would have come in sooner, honestly.
And when Gwen came in, she came in hot because Theresa's like giving this speech. She says, I swear I'll do everything in my power to make you the happiest man in the world. Gwen enters and she says, Theresa, have you no decency whatsoever? Girl, yeah. I loved that. Have you no decency whatsoever? And she tells Theresa she's a lying little bitch. I feel like Gwen usually hides this level of nastiness from Ethan. We don't see her be this nasty to Theresa in front of Ethan very often. I do know that changes as things progress down the line, but up until this point, she has been very good about kind of trying to stay calm and cool in front of Ethan for the most part. But this time, no, honey. She said, you're a lying bitch. And you told me, you promised me just a little bit ago that you weren't going to go after Ethan, but here you are. And then she says, oh, Ethan, because Ethan's like, Gwen, it's fine. And she's like, no, it's not fine. She's torturing you. It's like, okay, calm down. Calm down. He's a big boy. He can handle himself. She's like, she's coming to you time after time, begging for forgiveness. Even after you told her you didn't want to see her ever again. And Teresa's like, he didn't say that. Yeah. Of course, doesn't speak up. Of course, he doesn't say anything. But then Gwen goes in more. She's just like, the point is, Ethan has told you for the umpteenth time that it is over between you two. Yet here you are again, begging to be taken back. Theresa is torturing you. She keeps coming to you time and time again, begging for forgiveness, even after you told her you didn't want to ever see her again. I already said that. My bad. I thought it was on the next note. But Teresa's like, okay, you made your point. And the only reason I came here is because I was inspired, but I wasn't even going to do this. Gwen's like, blah, blah, blah. And Theresa says, well, I had to talk to Ethan one last time, even if it meant making a fool of myself. And Gwen says, well, FYI, you did. I loved it. I loved it. And so she says, I had to tell Ethan how I feel and so I wouldn't have any regrets. And Gwen's like, whatever, cue the violins. And
oh, yes.
Theresa says to Ethan, I wish the best for you, Ethan, and I love you so much. And I want you to pick the right person to spend the rest of your life with, even if she isn't me. Gwen says, it isn't. Gwen was on fire.
Like, yes, but then don't go back to the Crane Mansion and drink champagne in Theresa's house. If you want Ethan to leave her alone, stay out of her goddamn house.
You know how I feel about that. I say it every week. Y'all are in Theresa's house. A judge has ordered it. Y'all are in Theresa's house. This is her home. Now, maybe there's an argument to be made that what's his name? Julian may override whatever any decision she makes, but I don't think if she wanted to put, I think maybe the only person he might go to bat for is Rebecca. But at this point, with our newfound Julian, he's not even really fucking with Rebecca like that right now. So he might be like, yeah, get all of this riffraff out of my house. Kick them all out. But yes, she says that to him and blah 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 and whatever. Eventually she leaves and Gwen and Ethan head back to the mansion. But before that, Gwen tries to lead him to propose to her in the hospital.
Also, it was hilarious because Ethan was like, yes, you're right. I do have something important to ask you. Will you get something to eat with me?
Yeah. Can we have dinner?
Yeah. It was so dumb.
Yes, because he has decided not to propose to her just yet. Right? He was all for it a few hours ago, and now his visitors, his Christmas Carol visitors, right? The ghost of Christmas past, present, and future came to speak with him, and now he doesn't want to anymore. But yeah, they head back to the mansion. Theresa goes to the docks to the wharf, and she prays to God and asks God to have Ethan choose her. And when it doesn't happen immediately, she's like, I guess God's not gonna, God doesn't like women trying to steal other women's men or some dumb shit.
Yeah, it was super weird.
Yeah, but yeah,
it was very Edna.
It was. So Gwen and Ethan go back to the mansion. When they get there, Rebecca's like, surprise! And she has champagne for them. Like, oh,
and Gwen's like,
yeah, no, he didn't propose, but she doesn't say it. She, gives her a nonverbal cue to like, girl, shut up. He hasn't proposed to me yet. And so Rebecca covers by saying, oh no, it's just because you survived, blah, blah, blah. You're alive. Great. So she leaves them alone because
before she leaves, she says, she like dims the lights, and she says, there are actually people in this great country of ours who don't have servants to turn the lights off for you.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. She dims the lights because Gwen tells her like he didn't propose yet, but I'm sure he is. I think he just didn't want to do it at the hospital, which makes sense. He wanted us to be alone together in romantic
Theresa's house.
In Theresa's house. Imagine that. He can't propose to her at Theresa's house.
Drinking her champagne.
Sitting on her couch. I wrote that in my notes. So they're snuggled up on the couch. Rebecca leaves. Theresa comes home and she's like, why is it so dark in here? She
said, I wrote both of the light things down because I was like, what's with the lights this week? She said, well, I'm rich now. Why isn't the house lit up like a Christmas tree?
She wants her. She said, I can afford it.
I have servants that can turn on my lights.
Yeah, I can afford it. Turn on all these lights. Let there be light. So yeah, she comes in and she starts turning on lights because why is my mansion dark as hell? And of course she turns on the light in the living room and she finds Ethan and Gwen on the couch together. Gwen looks mad at her. It's like, bitch, go home. Go home.
Where does she live?
She has her own place. Okay. We've seen her in her apartment once. Because I remember her being on the phone with her mom, and she was at her place and her mom was at the mansion. So she has her, I guess, maybe she doesn't anymore. I don't know. I hate that they're in Theresa's house, on Theresa's couch, drinking Theresa's champagne, and she's waiting to get engaged.
Yeah.
In Theresa's house. Good God. How thoughtless and brazen.
And they both have degrees from Ivy Leagues. They can go get a job, but they won't.
Yeah. And also I'm pretty sure Gwen is still rich. Right? She has a big job. She has an executive's job, and her father is rich. She's Rebecca divorced Jonathan, but I'm sure Gwen is still on good terms with her father. So
also prenup, or there were no prenups back then. So the woman got the money. And Ivy isn't
Rebecca
either.
They did note that Rebecca got a quickie divorce and agreed to take nothing just so she could get her divorce very quickly because she thought that she was going to marry Julian immediately afterwards. Yeah. So, yeah. So Rebecca really is broke. It's crazy that she has so much smoke for Pilar when Pilar probably has a few more coins in her bank account than Rebecca does.
Because she has Theresa.
Because at least she has a job.
That's true.
You have nothing. So that's it for this week. It's been a lot. All right, Kelly, that is the show. Thank you so much. I know it was long. I know it was double the time that I told you it would be. And it just recently started being like this. It's crazy. I have to figure something else out. I do think this might be the new format starting in the next season that we'll just do 5 episodes and split it into 2 parts. But more on that to come. So Kelly, where can the people find you online?
I'm
If
on
you want to.
Instagram, Kelly Mustard Seed.
At Kelly Mustard Seed on Instagram.
I sometimes have a website. I teach yoga and stuff, but I don't have that up right now.
Oh, okay.
That's kellyruthyoga.com. It's going to come back up here in the summertime.
All right. Okay.
And yeah,
All right.
on the Discord.
On the
Just,
Discord.
chatting it up about Louise and Sheridan and
Same here. Same here. So with
on the
that,
watch parties.
yes, come to the watch parties. We're having one tomorrow, which I already talked about, but and there's several more coming. Three more coming up before I go on break. So you still have a few more chances to get on the watch parties and have some fun with us.
When do you go on break? When do you go on break?
Oh, I think I'm gonna take my break like in June. I'm gonna stop recording in June, but we're doing our last two watch parties at the end of June. Yeah. So with that, you are my passion for life.